In this video, I'm exposing what's actually inside the canned tuna sitting in your pantry right now. 9 of the biggest brands in America investigated. From a criminal price-fixing conspiracy that inflated what you paid for over a decade, to filler ingredients designed to make you think you're eating fish when you're really eating soy and chemical broth, to mercury levels so high that independent labs said some cans shouldn't be eaten at all. 7 of these brands failed. Only 2 passed. Let's get into it. 7. Genova. Starting at number 7, Genova markets itself as the premium choice for tuna lovers. And on the surface, it looks like everything you'd want. The cans feature yellowfin tuna, packed in extra virgin olive oil with sea salt. No broth, no soy protein, no pyrophosphate. The ingredient list is genuinely clean compared to the competition. And when Mammovation sent Genova yellowfin to an EPA-certified lab in 2025, it came back at just 29 parts per billion of mercury, making it one of the lowest mercury readings in the entire test. So why is it on the worst list? Because Genova is owned by Chicken of the Sea, and Chicken of the Sea is owned by Thai Union, the largest canned tuna producer on the planet. That means every dollar you spend on a jar of Genova flows directly to the same parent company that participated in the criminal tuna price-fixing conspiracy that ran from 2004 through 2015. Thai Union was the whistleblower in that case, which earned them federal amnesty from prosecution. But the company still paid out roughly $40 million in civil settlements to consumers who had been overcharged. The same parent company has been directly linked to forced labor in its shrimp and tuna supply chains, exposed by the Associated Press in a Pulitzer Prize-winning investigation in 2015. Greenpeace's sustainability ranking gave Chicken of the Sea and its subsidiaries a failing grade in every year they've been evaluated. So the fish in the Genova can might be fine, but the company behind the can has a track record that should concern anyone paying attention. Buying Genova means financially supporting one of the most controversial seafood corporations on Earth, whether the label tells you that or not. 6. Tonino. At number 6, Tonino is a Costa Rica-packed yellowfin brand sold in glass jars, positioned as a gourmet option for people willing to pay a premium for better tuna. The ingredients are clean. Yellowfin tuna, olive oil, salt, no fillers, no soy protein, no vegetable broth, no pyrophosphate. The glass jar packaging also eliminates the BPA concerns that come with traditional can linings. Since BPA is the endocrine-disrupting chemical found in most can liners that has been linked to reproductive problems and immune dysfunction. But the mercury tells a completely different story. When Mammovation sent Tonino products to an EPA-certified laboratory in 2025, the results were alarming. Tonino yellowfin premium chunks in spring water came back at 419 parts per billion of mercury. The yellowfin fillets in olive oil tested at 319 parts per billion. To put that in perspective, the threshold considered safe for pregnant women and children is 46 parts per billion. Tonino's flagship product tested at more than 9 times that limit. Yellowfin tuna is a large, long-lived predator that bioaccumulates mercury throughout its entire life. Every smaller fish it eats adds more mercury to its body, and that mercury concentrates as the fish grows. The FDA categorizes yellowfin as a good choice with a maximum of 1 serving per week for adults, not a daily protein source. But nothing on Tonino's packaging warns you about that limitation. The jars look luxurious. The branding feels artisanal, and someone eating Tonino 3 or 4 times a week because they believe it's a healthy protein option could be accumulating mercury well past the EPA's reference dose without ever knowing it. Clean ingredients and low mercury are 2 very different things, and Tonino only delivers one of them. 5. Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's is a brand people trust almost instinctively. and the general assumption that someone at corporate has already done the homework for you. When it comes to canned tuna, that trust is misplaced. Trader Joe's relies on chicken of the sea and Thai Union supply chains for the majority of its canned tuna products. That immediately connects every can to the same price-fixing scandal, the same forced labor allegations, and the same sustainability failures that plague the parent brands. But Trader Joe's adds its own layer of problems on top. Greenpeace ranked Trader Joe's dead last among 16 major U.S. retailers in its 2024 tuna scorecard, giving the company a score of just 12%. The reason was simple. Trader Joe's refused to even respond to the survey and offers almost zero transparency about where its tuna actually comes from, how the fish is caught, or which specific suppliers are packing their cans. You have no way to trace what you're buying, and the mercury testing exposed something truly concerning. When Mammovation tested Trader Joe's solid white albacore in their 2025 investigation, it registered 788 parts per billion of mercury. That was the single highest reading of any product in the entire test, across all 34 tuna products from all brands. That number is more than 17 times the threshold safe for pregnant women and children. For comparison, the FDA's action level, the point where they would actually pull a product off shelves, is 1,000 parts per billion. Trader Joe's solid white albacore was approaching that ceiling. Now, the company also sells a wild skipjack pouch that tested at just 6 parts per billion, which is excellent. But Trader Joe's makes it nearly impossible to know which products come from responsible sources and which ones could deliver dangerous mercury levels. That inconsistency, combined with total silence on sourcing and a last-place sustainability ranking, means shopping for tuna at Trader Joe's is a gamble you shouldn't have to take. 4. Costco Kirkland Signature. At number 4, Costco's Kirkland Signature is one of the best-selling store brand tunas in the country, and millions of families buy it in bulk without a second thought. The price is right, the warehouse format encourages stocking up, and the Kirkland name generally carries a reputation for decent quality. In terms of mercury, the Kirkland Signature solid white skipjack tested at 39 parts per billion in Mammovation's lab, which is actually one of the better readings for a mainstream product. But the mercury number is only one piece of a much larger puzzle. Costco remains tied to the chicken of the sea and Thai Union supply network, which means the same forced labor concerns, the same sustainability failures, and the same murky sourcing that plague every brand in that system. Greenpeace has given Costco a failing score in its tuna rankings and specifically called out Costco alongside Walmart as retailers that are failing to lead on responsible tuna sourcing. The bigger issue is transparency, or rather the total absence of it. Costco does not publish supplier-level sourcing information for its Kirkland tuna products. You don't know which boats caught the fish. You don't know where those boats were operating. You don't know what fishing methods were used, whether purse seine nets with fish aggregation devices were deployed, or whether the workers on those vessels were treated humanely. Given that the 2024 and 2025 forced labor lawsuits, every Kirkland tuna can is connected to that controversy by association. There's also the BPA issue. Independent testing has found BPA, the endocrine-disrupting chemical linked to reproductive harm and immune dysfunction, in the linings of most conventional canned tuna products. The European Food Safety Authority reduced its tolerable daily intake for BPA by a factor of 20,000 in 2023 after reviewing new evidence on immune system effects, concluding that there is a health concern from dietary BPA exposure for all age groups. Costco has not publicly disclosed whether Kirkland tuna cans use BPA-free liners. When you buy a 12-pack of Kirkland tuna at Costco, you're getting a bulk discount on a product whose supply chain has been linked to worker abuse, environmental destruction, and corporate secrecy. The fish itself might test acceptably for mercury, but everything behind that can, from the boats to the boardroom, should give you serious pause. 3. Chicken of the Sea, claiming the number 3 spot. Chicken of the Sea is owned by Thai Union Group, the world's largest tuna operation. The company's relationship with scandal goes back decades, and it touches every level of the business. During the criminal price-fixing conspiracy that ran from 2004 through at least 2015, Chicken of the Sea went to the Department of Justice and cooperated as the whistleblower. That cooperation earned Thai Union amnesty from criminal prosecution. But it does not erase the fact that the company participated in the scheme in the first place. They still paid out an estimated $40 million or more in civil settlements to consumers who had been overcharged for years. Then came the food safety disasters. In March 2016, Chicken of the Sea recalled over 107,000 cans of chunk light tuna because the product may have been undercooked due to equipment failure at the Lyons, Georgia co-packing facility. The recall notice warned that contamination by spoilage organisms or pathogens could lead to life-threatening illness if consumed. That same facility was shared with Bumblebee, and the combined recall reached approximately 1.6 million cans. Years earlier, in 2009, Chicken of the Sea tuna from its American Samoa packing plant was recalled for dangerously elevated histamine levels. Histamine is the toxin behind scombroid poisoning, which causes facial flushing, rash, palpitations, headache, and vomiting, sometimes within minutes of eating the contaminated fish. The critical thing about histamine is that cooking and canning do not destroy it. Once it forms during a cold chain break before the fish is processed, it is permanently locked into the can. Consumer Reports 2023 testing found that Chicken of the Sea albacore contained 10 times the mercury of its own chunk light product. And 2 out of 3 albacore samples tested had mercury levels high enough that the lab said they should not be eaten at all. The ingredient list on Chicken of the Sea's solid white tuna includes hydrolyzed soy protein, vegetable broth, salt, and sodium pyrophosphate. These are filler ingredients. The hydrolyzed soy protein produces free glutamate, which is effectively MSG without requiring MSG labeling. The pyrophosphate is there to suppress mineral crystals that would otherwise scare consumers. And the vegetable broth is liquid filler that adds weight to the can while reducing the amount of actual fish inside. 2. StarKist. Coming in at number 2, StarKist controls approximately 40% of the entire U.S. packaged tuna market, according to the Washington State Attorney General's 2020 filing. Its legal record is staggering. In 2018, StarKist pleaded guilty to federal price-fixing charges and was hit with the statutory maximum criminal fine of $100 million. The Department of Justice investigation revealed that StarKist, Bumblebee, and Chicken of the Sea had been coordinating to artificially inflate the price of canned tuna for over a decade, from 2004 through at least 2015. The conspiracy directly targeted American families who relied on tuna as an affordable source of protein. Court records show executives involved in the scheme complained that tuna was too cheap and worked together behind closed doors to make sure prices stayed high. But StarKist problems go far beyond price manipulation. In a separate class action lawsuit, consumers proved that StarKist was also systematically underfilling its cans. Federal law requires 5-ounce cans to contain an average of 2.84 to 3.23 ounces of pressed tuna. Independent testing showed StarKist's cans consistently fell below that minimum. The company settled for $12 million in 2015, but because 2.5 million consumers filed claims, which was 12 times more than StarKist had anticipated, individual payouts collapsed to just $2.38 in cash, or about $5 in coupons. You were paying full price for cans that weren't even full. StarKist was also named as a defendant in the 2019 federal class action, alleging that its dolphin-safe labeling was deceptive. The lawsuit claimed that StarKist's suppliers used purse-seine nets and long lines that kill dolphins, sea turtles, sharks, and seabirds, making the dolphin-safe stamp on the label misleading. Greenpeace ranked StarKist dead last, finishing 20th out of 20 brands in its 2017 Tuna Sustainability Guide. Consumer Reports flagged StarKist Select's no salt added albacore as having mercury levels high enough that the product should not be consumed. The ingredient list includes vegetable broth containing soy and sodium pyrophosphate. All of this from a company owned by South Korea's Dongwon Industries, one of the largest industrial fishing operations in the world. 1. Bumblebee. Taking the #1 spot as the worst canned tuna brand in America, Bumblebee has compiled a record of criminal behavior, human tragedy, and ongoing supply chain abuse that no other food company in recent history can match. Start with the price fixing. Bumblebee pleaded guilty to federal antitrust charges in 2017 and was fined $25 million, reduced from a potential $81.5 million because the full penalty would have driven the company into immediate bankruptcy. It filed for Chapter 11 anyway in November 2019. The company's then CEO, Christopher Leshevsky, was personally convicted in December 2019 and sentenced to 40 months in federal prison plus a $100,000 personal fine. The sentencing judge noted that this price-fixing conspiracy specifically harmed low-income Americans who depend on canned tuna as a primary protein source. Then there is the death of Jose Melena. On October 11, 2012, a 62-year-old Bumblebee employee named Jose Melena was loaded into a 35-foot industrial pressure cooker at the company's Santa Fe Springs, California plant, along with approximately 12,000 pounds of tuna. His co-workers did not realize he was inside. They sealed the oven and ran it at 270 degrees Fahrenheit for 2 hours before discovering what had happened. California OSHA fined Bumblebee approximately $74,000 for 6 serious safety violations. In 2015, the Los Angeles County District Attorney filed felony charges against the company and 2 plant managers for the death. And the problems have not stopped. In March 2025, 4 Indonesian fishermen filed a federal lawsuit against Bumblebee under the Trafficking Victims Protection Act, alleging beatings, untreated injuries so severe that one man described being able to see the bone in his own leg, debt bondage, and months of forced confinement at sea aboard vessels supplying Bumblebee's tuna. In November 2025 U.S., District Judge Cynthia Bashant ruled the case could proceed, finding that Bumblebee likely had knowledge of forced labor in its supply chain and played an active role in obtaining fish from the vessels where the abuse happened. Bumblebee is now owned by Taiwan-based FCF, which purchased the bankrupt brand in January 2020 for $928 million. Mammovation's 2025 lab testing found Bumblebee solid white albacore at 534 parts per billion of mercury, more than 11 times the threshold considered safe for pregnant women and children. The ingredient list includes hydrolyzed casein, hydrolyzed soy protein, vegetable broth, salt, and pyrophosphate. Industry analysis suggests that Big 3 tunas contain up to 18% hydrolyzed protein and up to 17% flakes, meaning as much as 35% of what's inside the can may not be fish at all. Criminal conviction, an employee cooked alive, active forced labor litigation, filler ingredients, and dangerous mercury levels. And here's the broader context that makes all of this worse. Tested over 5,200 seafood samples from 21 states and found that 59% of tuna samples at restaurants and retailers were mislabeled, with 84% of so-called white tuna turning out to be escolar, a fish known to cause severe digestive problems. Oceana did not test canned products directly, but their findings exposed how loose the chain of custody is for tuna at every level of the industry. When the companies that dominate canned tuna have already been convicted of rigging prices and caught filling cans with soy broth, the idea that the fish inside is always exactly what the label claims deserves serious skepticism. Bumblebee is not a tuna company with some problems. It is a case study in everything that can go wrong when profit is the only priority. After all of that, here is the good news. Two brands consistently pass every screen for ingredient purity, sustainable fishing, supply chain transparency, and mercury safety. These are the only canned tunas worth buying. 2. Wild Planet, starting our safe list at number 2, Wild Planet has built its entire business around doing the opposite of the big three. Every single can is 100% pole and line, troll, or hand line caught, which means no purse seine nets, no fish aggregation devices, and dramatically lower bycatch of dolphins, sharks, sea turtles, and seabirds. These fishing methods are more expensive and less efficient, but they're the reason Wild Planet exists. The ingredient list on Wild Planet Skipjack No Salt Added is exactly one word: tuna. No water, no vegetable broth, no hydrolyzed soy protein, no hydrolyzed casein, no sodium pyrophosphate, no salt, just fish. The tuna is hand-cut and cooked a single time inside the sealed can, which preserves the natural omega-3 fatty acids that the industrial double-cook method used by the big three destroys. When mass-produced tuna is pre-cooked before canning to remove moisture, the omega-3 rich oils drain away. Wild Planet's single cook process keeps them in. Wild Planet ranked number 1 in Greenpeace's Tuna Sustainability Guide and has repeated that ranking in subsequent evaluations. The company uses non-BPA can linings and provides full transparency about its sourcing. There is one caveat. Wild Planet's skipjack tested at 181 parts per billion in Mammovation's 2025 lab testing, which was higher than several other light tuna products, including some from the big three. Consumer Reports' 2023 testing found similar results, placing Wild Planet Skipjack in a once-per-week consumption category rather than the 2 to 3 times per week the FDA suggests for light tuna. Wild Planet has addressed this directly, explaining that their selective fishing methods occasionally land slightly older, larger fish than industrial purse seine fleets would typically catch. The company made a deliberate choice to prioritize sustainable fishing over chasing the absolute lowest mercury number. For consumers who want clean ingredients with nothing hidden, responsible sourcing backed by independent verification, and a company that has never been convicted of a crime or sued for deception, Wild Planet is a trustworthy option. Just treat it as a once-a-week food if mercury is a priority for your household. 1. Safe Catch. Taking the top spot as the best canned tuna you can buy in America, Safe Catch is the only brand on earth that tests every single fish for mercury before it goes into a can. Not batch testing, not random spot checks, not statistical sampling. Every individual fish. The company has tested over 6 million tuna to date, and roughly 1 out of every 4 fish fails their purity standard and gets rejected before it ever reaches a consumer. Safe Catch sets its mercury limit at 0.1 parts per million, which is 10 times stricter than the FDA's action level of 1.0 parts per million. That means a can of tuna could legally contain mercury at 10 times the concentration Safe Catch would accept and still pass FDA inspection. When a competing industry brand challenged Safe Catch's low mercury claims through the BBB's National Advertising Division in 2021, the review board investigated and found that Safe Catch had provided a reasonable basis for its claims of having the lowest mercury and the lowest mercury limit of any brand. The industry challenge actually ended up validating what Safe Catch had been saying all along. Mammovation's 2025 independent lab results confirmed the claims across multiple products. Safe Catch Elite Skipjack came in at just 51 parts per billion. Safe Catch Wild Ahi Yellowfin registered 29 parts per billion. Safe Catch Wild Albacore tested at 144 parts per billion. Every single one of those numbers is significantly lower than the competing products in the same tuna category from conventional brands. The ingredient list is tuna and sea salt, nothing else. No broth, no soy, no casein, no pyrophosphate, no vegetable filler of any kind. The cans use BPA-free linings. The company is the official tuna of the American Pregnancy Association, which is a meaningful endorsement given that pregnant women, nursing mothers, and young children are the populations most vulnerable to mercury exposure. For families with kids, for anyone who is pregnant or nursing, and for everyone else who simply wants to know that what's printed on the label is actually what's inside the can. Safe Catch is the standard. It typically runs about $3 to $4 for a 5-ounce can, which is more than Bumblebee or Starkist. But when the alternative is a convicted price fixer, stuffing your can with soy broth, vegetable filler, and mercury, that extra $1 or $2 buys you something the big three have never been willing to offer: the truth about what you're eating. There you have it. 7 brands backed by criminal convictions, filler ingredients, underfilled cans, forced labor lawsuits, and mercury levels that independent labs flagged as unsafe. And 2 brands that actually deliver real fish with nothing to hide. Before your next grocery run, remember to read the ingredient list on the back of the can. If it lists vegetable broth, hydrolyzed soy protein, or pyrophosphate, you're paying for filler, not fish. Look for pole and line caught on the label and choose brands that publish exactly where their tuna comes from. If this changed how you think about canned tuna, hit that like button and drop a comment telling me which brand you want investigated next. Share this with anyone in your family who still has Bumblebee or Starkist sitting in their pantry. Subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss content exposing what's really in your food. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.